friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk about food donations for the food pantries. Here we are mid-October and people are now starting to rev up and start collecting for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And with that in mind, they're asking for things that are great for those particular meals. Now today what I'm going to be discussing is actual donations. A lot of times people will just kind of rifle through their pantry and just grab, okay, what's the oldest in here and give it away. I want to ask that you not do that this year. I want you to stop and think about if you're taking anything out of your cabinets to donate, that you take the most recent purchase that you made. And the reason I say this is even at thrift stores, you can see that people donate things and it might have a broken zipper that the thrift shop didn't even notice. And a lot of times what you may not know is that with the food at the pantries and such, if it's outdated, they cannot give it to the patrons of those food pantries. So I really want to educate those who just arbitrarily go and clean it out. And the reason that I'm saying this is those who need the food pantries, who need it, is it really fair for us to give them the least of what we have with those outdated things? Now, I realize I am certainly one who has a pantry and I don't really focus on those best buy dates because I know there is some time frame. But in saying that, I still don't want to give. I was looking through my pantry and I'm like, oh, I have a few things here that are going to hit that best buy date by December. And I decided, nope. So I went to the grocery store. This was one of the places that I go to. My massage therapist, she collects food during the holidays. And so one of the things that I do is I put together a bag. And so we decided, my husband and I decided, I said, you know what? I want to do more than just a bag. So for this time, I put together a box of food. So what I wanted to share with you are some of the things that I did. I went to the grocery store and I spent about $45. And, you know, I know that's a lot to some people, and you want to know the truth, my grocery bill, if I go just for a few items in the produce item and a few items in the dairy aisle for my husband, we can spend $45 instantly. And I rarely go down the aisles because I typically don't buy these products. Now there's some that I do and some that I don't. So what I did was, as I was going down the aisles, one of the aisles that I went through was soup. I thought, okay, soup would be a great thing because a lot of people who are at the food pantries, not all of them, but many of them really don't know how to cook. And so they are actually like, they want something easy. They might want soup, chili, all those kind of things. But the one thing that I noticed on a lot of the really nice brands of soup that I used to buy, they have bioengineered food products in it, or ingredients in it. And so one of the things that my husband and I are not doing is we are checking labels left and right. And even if it's a product we have used before, we're still checking because you don't know when it's going to change. So it was really kind of interesting because we were going through the soup aisle and I said, oh, you know what? I want to go get them some soup as well. I couldn't buy any because all the soup that I found had bioengineered ingredients in it. And because I don't want to consume that, I don't want to give away those type foods. Now you might be okay with it, and that is okay. But when we give, we want to give what we ourselves would want to consume. That's my mindset, is when we donate, whether it's clothing or food or services, donate something that you yourself would appreciate. So you're on hard times, what kind of foods would you be okay with? So I want to share a few of the things that I picked up that I will be donating, and it felt great to kind of like, we had a budget. This trip, it's $50, so I spent $45, which is not bad, pretty close to the $50, and I think it would have gone over had we bought the soup. So some of the items we got at the store, and then I picked up a few things out of my pantry that I just recently purchased. So it probably hit that $50. So one of the things that I got, one of the things that I recommend, because I am gluten intolerant, so I try to buy things that are also sensitive to those who have gluten and dairy sensitivities. My husband doesn't have any of that, but I do. And I have two daughters that are as well. So I am thinking outside the box of what they don't get typically. So one of the things I got was cornbread. Now my husband loves cornbread, and this is a gluten-free product, and with it is something that I've made here, and my husband likes it. So if somebody in that family has a gluten intolerant, this is a great product, the Bob Red Mills, and I'm not getting paid by them, by the way. This is a product that I do consume, and I buy other brands, but not all of them. Now, what is something else that I picked up? Hot chocolate. Now, at the food pantry, they might not be able to give a whole box out, but maybe they might be able to. How many are in here? There's 8 of them. And maybe a family of 4 comes in and another family of 4. They can split this box up and give 4 packets to each. Now, I did not buy a big canister of hot cocoa because they can't split that up and divvy it up, and they would end up putting it in Ziploc bags. And personally, I don't find that appropriate when we're trying to make sure everything is healthy for the people we're giving to. Is cocoa healthy? Not really, but you know what? The cold weather is coming in, so I actually think that cocoa can be a really nice comfort food. The other things that I picked up was, even though I make my own broth, I picked up some chicken broth with no bioengineered products. This is the store brand, and so this is just chicken broth. It's something that they can make rice with. They can use this just as a first aid if they're sick. You can drink a cup of chicken broth, and that can actually help soothe things when you're not feeling well. So I find chicken broth to be very nutritious and very beneficial, and I did not get the low sodium because even though I'm not big on a lot of salt, I also know that our bodies need salt. So I picked up 2 of those. The other thing that I picked up, and I don't generally have this on my shelf, but I did pick up some 2% reduced milk. Now normally I purchase whole milk for my husband because that's what we drink, but I couldn't find any on the shelf, so I got some 2% milk. Because you know what? Some people want to drink this with their cereal or whatever food. They might want to make scrambled eggs. So this is a product that I feel was appropriate to purchase. Now I bought 2. It might go to 1 family and it might be split into 2 families. So far what I picked up could benefit 2 families right now. The other thing I picked up were, actually this came out of my pantry. I buy these raisins for my husband, and the reason I buy them in the big box, but I also buy them individually. So if my husband's looking for a snack, he takes a package of raisins. So he doesn't take them all the time, that's why I have them in the package, and I'm cool with that. And this one, I still had a couple more, so I took that off my shelf, and it hadn't expired yet. It actually expires later on, like next year somewhere. All right, this here, I have not bought prepared rice pilaf in a long time. So I picked up a box, garlic and herb, because I like garlic and herb. And so I picked this up to go into whatever box they put together. Now, I normally would buy gluten-free pasta for myself, but not everybody is that way, so they might just consume just regular pasta. I used to love rotini. That's why I got it, because it's a yummy pasta. But like I said, we don't consume it anymore. The other thing that I picked up, and I was looking at this, okay, it doesn't have bioengineered and, and it's rice and stuff. So I picked up 2 mini rices because some people have microwaves, and some of these people who might need a pantry need the support of that. They might be people who are working a job that just don't make enough money. So I thought these would be a nice lunch for a working family or working mom or dad, And so that's what I got. I got jasmine rice, which is a healthy rice, and the yellow rice with onion, garlic, and other natural flavors. So I picked those up because those are easy and convenient. Let's see. Now everybody is different on what they choose for tuna. I picked up some albacore tuna, and I like it because it actually has a chunk type tuna in it. Now that's what I got, and some people may not like it, and I've been hearing all kinds of things. Oh, you shouldn't get this kind, you shouldn't get that kind. You know what? When they have a number of people coming in, they get to say yay or nay. So maybe there'll be other tuna options, but I figured I'll get two. And the nice thing about tuna is you can mix that with a pasta dish and throw it in there with a can of peas and make a nice nutritious dinner. So you can stretch one can of tuna into a large family meal. The other thing I got were two cans of Bush's beans. This brand is one that my husband and I like, and so I got the honey sweet and I got the barbecue because those are ones that I would love to have. We have some of these on our shelves, but I wanted to get some new ones, some fresh ones, so that if they ended up staying on the shelf, how many people eat baked beans, I don't know, but my husband and I eat it a couple times a week, so I figured maybe. And I like to get the good brands for that kind of thing. So I did buy one box of shells and cheese for a family that might have little ones that do like the cheese. This is not bioengineered at all. And, you know, I'm not into, it does contain milk and wheat, so it's not really for somebody who is gluten-free or dairy-free. But it is something that a lot of parents do feed their children as a macaroni and cheese type dish. The other thing I did was, to go along with the pasta, is I did pick up a nice jar of roasted garlic pasta sauce. Now this is certainly a store brand, but when I'm not making my own pasta sauce, I have used this brand and it's excellent. So sometimes I just add more of my own pasta, especially if it's a sauce that I don't have much of. But now it's just David and I, so this would be for 2 meals for us or more, because my husband doesn't use as much sauce as I do. The other item is peanut butter. The food pantries don't get enough peanut butter. Now I only got the creamy. My husband and I, he likes creamy and I like the nut butters. I got the creamy because more often than not, people want the creamy. They don't want the crunchy one. And so I just thought, okay, I'm just going to get the creamy peanut butter. The other thing that I got were, actually this came off my shelf, is some pinto beans and then some sweet peas. I got to the grocery store and I went through and I got home and I said, oh my gosh, I didn't buy any canned veggies. So I went down to see what I had down there that is not personally canned, and I had some sweet peas that were not expired. Was this expiring in 2024? So we're safe. So I decided I'm going to just take those and actually give those. So I probably will go back to the store and get some vegetables because I felt bad that I didn't get any vegetables. Now, will other people donate vegetables? I hope so. But if they don't, then I will try to get another couple cans to just add to this box. And the last thing that I added, now they can use toilet paper, they can use toothbrushes, they can use toothpaste, they can use laundry detergent, they can use dish detergent, they can use all kinds of stuff. So I picked up some facial tissue. We're coming into the cold flu season, so that is a product that both my husband and I go through a lot. So, well, especially with the allergy season. And then if one of us gets sick, we'll go through a box in a day or two. So this is kind of like a small amount to some. Now, I am not saying that you have to go out and spend $50 for a food pantry. Absolutely not. But if you're not in need of the food pantry and you are on a strict budget, and I get it because David and I are actually on a strict budget, but we've made some changes for how we're handling our holiday this year. And we have been cutting back on that for a few years now. And so we made some other intentional changes. And I told him, I said, one of the things I want to do for us as a Christmas gift is to give to others a little bit more. And I have another plan in mind, but I'm not going to talk about it here. But what I wanted to share with you is the food pantries are going to be in greater need this year than in the past. So if you are somebody who is using a food pantry, this is not for you. But if you are somebody who has used a food pantry, Dave and I have gone through some hard times. So yes, we have used food pantries in the past. We no longer do. So it's really kind of something that is like paying it forward again. You know, somebody gave to us, so I want to give back. And it's a very humbling experience to realize that you might need to use a food pantry. Now, the one thing that we are not giving is produce or meat or any of that. Can you, if you have a food pantry near you and you want to donate that stuff, call them up and ask them. Sometimes they can get them from a local store who wants to put it in the freezer and donate. Not many food pantries take food or meat or produce. And the reason is because they have no place to store it. And a lot of times, one of the things I was told when I went there a long time ago is people don't know how to cook with raw vegetables. And I thought, wow, that's kind of unfortunate because, you know, vegetables that I get from the garden or vegetables somebody might gift me because they got too many, I am constantly putting in jars and or using it in our meals. So I can't give any produce. And my garden wasn't that great, so we're not going to do that. I've had to go to the farms to get my produce that I've wanted. So I don't give meat. But if you are somebody who's in that position to do that, before you bring the food, call them. It just takes a moment. If you have a community action program in your area, call them. They might be able to direct you to the places that do have freezers so that they can give food out. Now, at Thanksgiving time, they oftentimes will give turkey with the fixing. So if you want to put together a Thanksgiving meal, that is something that you can do because they will be reaching out asking for turkeys. So if you are able to do that, by all means, please do that. Now, I'm not in the position to be able to go out and buy a bunch of turkeys or even a couple or any of that kind of stuff. But I do know that we set aside some money so that I could do this. Can I always do this? In the past, I never could. I could do maybe $5 or $10. And with the price of food today, and it's going up and up and up, it's hard to do even for today to go and get stuff. I mean, these were $1.19. So if I was going to do $5, that's $2.20 already. And I forgot how much the peanut butter. I don't have my slip here, but you can buy a thing of peanut butter and a loaf of. They get loaves of bread from other donations, but just call them with what you want to donate. Now, the one reminder I want to share is, please do not give what you yourself would not consume. And I want to repeat this because a lot of people clean out their pantries in order to give the outdated items. That's not giving from your heart. That's not even giving from your surplus. That's giving from what you don't want to throw away. And I think it's unkind, and you might not agree with me. And you might not agree because, well, it's still edible, and if they're really hungry, they should be thankful. Do you know they give that food to farmers who have pigs? A lot of them do, because they can't get rid of this food. So I think that one time somebody asked me when I went to the pantry, I only wanted a few items and they had some food and it was going bad. I said, I can't use it. This is before we had chickens. But I said, I can't use it. It's too far gone. I said, the only thing I can do is throw it in my compost. They were fine with that because I couldn't do anything with it. This is why it's really important that you contact the food pantries that you go to, and they will be able to say yay or nay. If they have somebody in, many times it's a church, many times they know people in their church family that have pigs or chickens or whatever, and they will donate what doesn't get picked up because they don't have the proper storage for that stuff. So what can you pick up for food pantries? Peanut butter. A lot of these items I already went through. Think about the things that you like. think about the things that are really nutritious. If you're okay with the bioengineered, or you can find soups, good soups that do not have those bioengineered products or items in it, then by all means pick up soups, because people like that. Baked beans, chili. What are some other things that I don't recall what I've seen, but I used to just go for a few things. They take cereal, and you definitely don't want that old, because cereal goes bad. And so you want to make sure that that is as fresh as you possibly can get when you go to the grocery store. Give from your heart. And if you have been somebody like ourselves, where in the past you have had to use a food pantry, think about how you felt when there was nothing there, or nothing that you yourself would eat. So when you go, try to think about giving stuff that you yourself, if you were in that position of needing to humble yourself to get food from a food bank, or a church who is having a food pantry type thing, think about what you yourself would want. Now, with the Thanksgiving coming up, I was going towards instant potatoes is a good thing. Some people take cookies, the prepackaged cookies. I don't, and the reason I don't give sweet stuff is because David and I don't consume a lot of it. And, so it has to be what your diet is like in terms of what you're going to give. So I only give things that I myself would appreciate getting, and things that we might have on our shelves. Actually, the only thing, we do have the vegetables, peanut butter, baked beans. I have to go get some milk for my shelves. But broth, I make my own broth. Different pastas and rice and stuff. So these are kind of nice things. Now, what if you wanted to buy things in bulk because you think, I can just get a big bag of rice? Call the food pantry, because they might put it into small bags. They might, if it's a church, they might have their youth group help, put a cup of rice in different Ziploc bags. I personally think it's more helpful to just get the package, the small packages, even though it's more costly. It's just easier to distribute. And not all partakers of needing food from the food pantry will do beans, like the hard beans, but some do. So you have to think about you yourself. You're in hard times. What do you need? So those are some things that you can get. Other things that you can add are, I think I mentioned toothpaste, toothbrushes, because some of them can't go to a dentist. Some of them can. It depends on what kind of insurance they have. If they have healthy kids, I think that's changed. My kids were on Healthy Kids years ago. And but I think it's changed as to what it's called nowadays. But if they're on that, they get to go to the dentist, but the parent might not. So try to make, the soap, shampoo, anything that you might appreciate. One thing to keep in mind, as you're cleaning your pantry, and that was what I was doing, I was like, I have some shampoos that I don't use anymore, and I pulled out. They have expiration dates too, folks. So I'm like, oh my, I didn't know that. And typically what happens is I buy 2 of something, and it takes both David and I over a year to go through our shampoo, because we don't use a lot. We use less than a quarter drop, and the size of a quarter. And so we don't use as much as a lot of people might lather in their hands. We don't use it up. So our shampoo lasts forever. And we don't have much for soap on hand for hand washing, because I make my own soap. So that is something that they can use. But if it's on your shelf, just check the expiration date, because those things are important to keep in mind. I didn't know there was an expiration date on soap. Who knew? We're all here to learn something new. And I don't know if they can give those out, but it's certainly worth checking into. I'm not sure if laundry detergent does. I mean, I buy my detergent in bulk anyway, but I've never had a problem with it. It might cake up, like the OxyClean I purchased, it might cake up. But you can just kind of take a knife and break it down, or borax and stuff like that. But typically what they need is for you to donate items that are basic items that many people can use. And just, like a rice dish, easy to make, a macaroni and cheese dish for the children, hot cocoa for at night. It's snowing out. It's a rough week, whatever the case may be. Let's sit down and have that. Will they take popcorn? I believe they will take popcorn. I'm trying to think of the different things that they will take. So in my quest to share today, it is to share with you how important food pantries are. People don't use them forever. We used them for a few years, and then we stopped because, things got better, or my garden was doing good, and plus I started changing how we eat. So I don't need those things. And I wanted to point out is if you decide that you want to give flour so that they can bake cookies, and so you might want to get chocolate chips, you might want to get flour, you might want to get sugar. When you get those bags, now this Bob's Red Mill, I've never had a problem with it leaking, but those paper bags for flour and sugar, they can sometimes get tears in them. So I would recommend, as a courtesy, is to put it in a Ziploc bag. Plus, flour can get bugs and everything else, and why get bugs on everything? So that is something to keep in mind. So if you want to give, say you don't want to give a whole meal or that type of thing, and you want to give somebody the option to bake cookies, so you can go and get dried eggs, or if they accept regular eggs, you can ask them, do you take eggs? You can offer that. But you can get the ingredients to make homemade cookies. And you know what? That's just flour, sugar, brown sugar. Sorry, it's in the back of my head. I haven't made my husband some cookies in a while. Chocolate chips, if that's what you want to do. Get those ingredients. Or like oatmeal. You can get oatmeal packs. And you can make cookies. I actually, when we used to get the individual packs of oatmeal, when I bought it before we even used a pantry, and I didn't have the money to go to the store and pick up the big container, and that's how I buy my oatmeal now, but I would take those packets, I would tear them apart, and I would make oatmeal cookies out of them. Now, I don't like instant oatmeal anymore, and I didn't necessarily like it then, but my husband used to like it. So if I saw that it was staying on the shelf a little longer than I wanted it, I would just rip open the tops, pour it in until I got the measurement I needed, and I would make oatmeal cookies. And then raisins are very handy for raisin oatmeal cookies. So there is things that you can do to help people, giving of yourself. And like I said, if you can't give much, maybe you can go to the store and get a couple boxes of raisins, or even just a jar of peanut butter. And, and if you can't do that, maybe some tissue. It doesn't really matter. If you can put together maybe even 5 items, that would bless a pantry. Even one item would bless a pantry, because right now we all know that the grocery bill is just too high for all of us. And to cut back, it's difficult. So I just want to encourage you to think of others. And I hope that during this season of people that are giving, that you don't stop there, that you actually think about giving to the pantries throughout the year, because those people still need the pantries, and they have less donations off the holiday season. That's why I'm bringing this up now. So if you like the idea of going to the grocery store and picking up even just $5 worth of items, do that, and then on your way by at the church or the community action or the areas that have a food pantry, just drop it off. You don't have to say who you are, you can just drop it off. Just make sure they're fresh, they're new in their packaging, and that it's not old stuff on your shelves. We want to be kind. If we're giving, let's be kind from our heart in giving fresh items. Folks, I hope you're having a great day, and I honestly hope that God blesses you. Be well and take care.